Hello, lovelies. How are you? I hope you're all doing well. I am doing, pretty well. Uh, I have been working on this project, which I'm about to introduce you to. I have the majority of it complete, but there are still a few things that I'm tinkering with. But, I thought I would do a general introduction for this coming series of videos that I am producing. So, I'm probably like a year late, but for this Halloween spooky season, I am creating a Regency ensemble. Now, I probably will be selling this before actual Halloween, so I will need to make myself something to wear on Halloween, but I would probably just make something like a black linen or a black cotton dress to wear under my everyday cloak that I made last year. But I was given the advice, probably about 2 weeks ago, that when I go to create these videos, I generally speed up the sewing so much that you can't really follow it. And what really is actually interesting about when I talk is when I start getting passionate about things. So I'm going to try and delve a little bit more into why I like historical sewing and why I like to do these type of projects. So, in the vein of that, I wanted to do this because Regency is kind of a transitional style. It is going from the conical shape of the 18th century Georgian fashion, a lot of what you think of like Rococo, where it's inverted triangle and hips. And that fashion kind of died with Marie Antoinette. She was even like leaving that fashion behind. She wanted looser, more comfortable, almost Regency style. So when a lot of the French aristocracy was guillotined, beheaded, executed for being aristocracy and being out of touch with, you know, humanity, basically. The fashions shifted, like, drastically, and you get the Regency fashion. Now, the Regency fashion, a lot of you probably will know, was because one of the kings, King George's, was kind of a cuckoo. He was not all there all the time, so another George, the prince, got put in as a regency. Now, this wasn't a very long regency, but the fashion of the time became known as Regency fashion because it started during the time period he was regent. And that is usually the under-the-bust waistline, flowy skirt. It doesn't look like it has a lot of structure to it, but there are a lot of layers. I will be doing these different layers in different videos. I will be doing the shift. In this one, at the end of the video, you will see me speed up the collection of the shift, which is just like a basic undergarment. It's what would actually get washed a lot. So it was usually made out of linen, and this time period it started to become made of cotton because, you know, plantations and slavery and all of this stuff going on in the background of the fashion world. It generally wouldn't be made of silk because silk is hard to wash and it stains really heavily. Silk also was expensive. The reason they were using linen and cotton is because it was getting cheap. Cotton was getting cheaper, and linen was always around. It was good at absorption. It was generally white, so you could bleach it, you could, like, make it white again. Then you would wear a pair of stays. Now, during this time period, stays were starting to, like, change structure. There's the short stays and the long stays. The long stays actually went down over the hips and helped contain everything. However, there was also the short stays. I will be making short stays, which is basically a Regency bra. It lifts and pushes forward. That's what it does. It doesn't help with any tummy control. It doesn't help with anything else. It just lifts and pushes forward to make the Regency shelf bust. I will go over prices of all that later, but I used a downloadable pattern off of Etsy from Red Threaded. It is a very easy pattern to follow. She makes it with a lot of modern terminology, and even though I hadn't done like very many understructures, it was very easy for me to follow and fit. I did make a mock-up, but I probably should have done that. I am still figuring out my body type, so yes. The third piece of the undergarment is petticoat. Now, petticoats during this time period came in kind of two styles. One was a bodice petticoat, which you could technically make attached to your stays, or make them so that they like are kind of the stay-ish type, where it's just like very tight, and it's got the gusset, and it just like lifts and pushes forward. But there's also like you could just do a plain bodice petticoat, where it's just a bodice on top of, you know, the stays, so that you don't get a line in the front. And the third kind was just with straps. Now, these all had to have some kind of upper support. They couldn't just be at the waist, because Regency waistlines went up. And there's no, like, divot at just under the bust. Or at least there shouldn't be. There is a alternative understructure that you could have, which is a small thumb pad, which you would put at, like, right where your stays end, to help the back of the skirt fluff out and make it look like you've got more of a punt than you do, because the behind is lower, meaning skirt layers are lower, meaning it could look kind of funny if you don't have the bump head there. I am choosing, with the dress I'm doing right now, not to do it, because I'm planning on doing one that I will end up keeping. That's in more witchy fabric, probably in like a black or a purple. I will just make that decision when I come to it. Then there comes the exterior garments. I'm making the dress, and I am making a Spencer jacket. The dress I am making out of polyester voile. I am machine embroidering all around the hem and on the sleeves, like right up along the sleeve head where it will be seen. I have already done all this embroidery. It took me 3 days. My advice is, unless you have a lot of time where you can sit and do the embroidery, buy pre-embroidered fabric. Unless you're like wanting a very specific design. I just wanted it to have some kind of detailing along the bottom. I will probably be adding ribbon and lace at some point. I haven't decided yet. I may save the lace for a different project. I may not put ribbon on. I have to assemble the skirt before I can make that decision. The last part is the jacket. Now the jacket, again, the waistline has raised, so the jacket is shorter. It's more of a cropped jacket. I'm unsure if I'm going to keep this jacket or not, because I kind of like it. I'm using a floral tapestry material for the fashion fabric. I have to get fabric for the lining, but I want to get like a burgundy or red for the interior. Really, I'm using a lot of scrap materials for the Spencer. That's why I don't have the lining materials yet. I will say that Regency, starting from the bottom up, is a very easy era to get into, because it is a lot less structured, meaning it's a lot more forgiving. Shifts are generally pretty easy. I use the American Duchess 18th century and just made the sleeve short. sleeves are a little tight. I probably should have made them a little bit looser, but I'm not going to go back and fix it at this point. They are done. They are fine. Again, I used the red threaded downloadable Regency short stays pattern. It's like $6 to $15. I can't remember. Sometimes she has sales, and I think I got it on sale. The petticoat, I just used the skirt pattern from my dress pattern and added straps and a waistband. That was it. That was just, it's fine. It works. I added a hook and eye to the side because I left like a 10-inch gap so that I could, get it on and take it off so it, just doesn't live on me. Hi. What was I? Oh, petticoat. Yes, I added hook and eye so I could get it on and off. The dress pattern, I am altering it. The dress pattern I have is a McCall's pattern. It's like a big box, just $2, bought it on sale pattern because I wanted the general shapes. Then I came to the issue. I don't want a back closure. I want to be able to get this on and off. I want to be able to sell this dress with the feature of, hey, you can take it on and off yourself. You don't have to have a maidservant. Because, maidservants nowadays aren't a common thing. So I altered it to be a solid back piece, 2 closing in the front, with a little bit of lacing, and then basically I made it an apron front style. Now this did take a little bit of finagling, and I have kind of made it to me to fit, but I'm hoping to be able to sell this piece, so but yes, I will try to show how I did that. Basically, I just did a princess, I cut up the dart and added seam allowance to that, and then I made a rectangular piece and sewed it in so that I could get a general idea of how much I needed to, add to the front, and made it low enough so that it would hide under the bib flap. I have not made the decision on how I'm attaching the bib flap to the front. I might put hook and bars. I might do buttons. I have already made up the flap, so I can't do internalized buttons, but I will figure that out when I get to it. Overall, I have made the majority of these pieces already. I'm just working on the exterior garments at this point. I really enjoy this project. Regency is not one of my favorite fashions, but I wanted a project I could complete. Something where I wouldn't get distracted and stressed about it and just, finish it. So the rest of this video is going to be me assembling the shift. Now the shift is basically a long rectangle with gores on the sides to, give leg movement room. A gusset under the arm to, be able to raise and lower the arm, because gussets are usually built into sleeve heads at this point. I originally was going to try and pattern draft this myself, and I just got so frustrated with trying to get all the math done. Then I realized, hold on, American Duchesses put out a shift pattern, like a big box shift pattern. If I take that shift pattern and just change the sleeves, it'll be so much easier for myself. So I did that. All I did was make the sleeve shorter so that it would fit under the Regency sleeve style, which I'm doing short sleeves, so it's a boof. It is a boof with a, sleeve band, and I'm just gonna call that. I have made the executive decision to line the dress sleeves after doing the embroidery, so the sleeves will be lined so that the if they are wearing a shift or not, the sleeves will be covered. I am making this dress machine washable because I want it to be easy to launder, you know, wear and use as a costume or whatever. But yes, I am making the shift this video because it is going to be a relatively easy and project. You put the gores on the side. I then machine stitch down the seam allowance so that, you know, lay relatively flat. Then you machine up the sides and the shoulders. I hand filled down those. I wasn't going to, but I did. Making sure to leave enough room for the gusset and the sleeve. I then attached the gusset and the sleeve and filled down those so that, you know, it wouldn't all unravel on me. I wanted it to be relatively nice. I will be keeping the shift for when I do my black ensemble, which I already have made the stays and the petticoat for. I just have to do the dress. But yes, using that American Duchess pattern made this a whole lot easier. I would suggest this pattern. It is the one without the ruffles, and it's one of their understructure patterns. You can get it through Simplicity. If I remember, I will try to add it down below, but I may not remember. Sometimes I have a scatterbrain. So I hope you enjoy this video. I'm looking forward to showing you the completed garment when I get to that point. I probably will spend the rest of the day flatlining the sleeves and serging all the edges of the skirt because oil likes to unravel on you if you don't. Who knew I would choose a hard fabric to work with? Anyone who's been on this channel before? I hope you all have a lovely day. The rest of this video will be the shift, and we will see it at the end of the video. I probably won't do an voiceover because I'm kind of just excited to get this done and produce it for you. So I will see you all next time. Have a lovely day. Bye.